Hello, everyone, and welcome to Africa Fire Mission's weekly virtual training session. My name is Mike, and I'm the programs director here at Africa Fire Mission. We're so happy you took time out of your busy schedules to join us for today's training. Today, we're joined by Howard Cohen. Howard does a lot of stuff for us here at Africa Fire Mission. He is our virtual training coordinator. So he's the guy in the background that really makes this all happen, helps us with arranging for instructors and all that sort of stuff. Great guy to reach out to if you're interested in leading one of these sessions. We're always looking for instructors, especially local instructors from Africa. So we can put you in contact with Howard if you'd like to lead one of these sessions. Before we get started with today's training, Howard's going to start us with just a couple words of encouragement.
Hi, everybody. All I'm seeing is a bunch of names, so I guess a lot of you guys have your cameras turned off. That's okay. I trust you can see me. So I want to start off with a little story, and then I'm going to, totally shift gears and get into my actual training program. So once there was a great religious leader asked this question. He said, "Where does God dwell?" He answered his own question by saying, "Wherever you let God in." So, in a lot of religious traditions, we consider our homes the sort of center of our spiritual lives. In fact, in the Bible, we use the same term for the sanctuary that the Israelites considered their center. We use the same term to describe our homes. It's a small sanctuary. So, so our homes are sacred centers of our lives, where loving relationships allow holiness to be most present. I'm sure that's something many of you can relate to and appreciate. However, there's another question we might ask. Instead of asking where does God dwell, we might ask where does God not dwell? So, how do we answer that question? After all, nowhere is void of holiness or the divine presence. However, sometimes we are either too distracted by the world's affairs or blinded by our own mistaken assumptions of what it means to experience the divine presence that we don't even notice the divine presence is there. This is sort of like when Jacob in Genesis chapter 28, verse 16, awakes from his dream and says, "Surely God is in this place, and I did not know it." So the one takeaway or the one lesson from this is that the divine presence is everywhere always. It's just that we are not always attuned to or aware of that. So to this teaching, I want to add a postscript. There was a child of a certain prominent religious leader who didn't like to attend his father's services. Instead, he used to wander in the woods. He'd leave early in the morning and he'd go exploring and wander far from home. But his parents were worried about him doing this because the woods were dangerous. There were bandits, there were wild animals. He could get lost, he could fall into a pit. So they were concerned, and so they finally approached him and they said, "Son, we've noticed that you were always wandering off into the woods, and we kind of wondered, why are you doing that?" And the boy said to his father, "I go there to find God." Oh, the father said, "That's very good. I'm moved by that. But I want you to know that God is the same everywhere." And the boy very wisely answered, "Yes, that's true, but I'm not." I'm going to leave you with that.
Excellent. Thank you, Howard. Thank you for those words of encouragement. That's a good one to think about. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Before we get started here with our training, we'll just touch on a couple administrative notes, and I'm going to pass things right back over to Howard to get into his lesson for today. If you stick around for at least 70% of today's training, which is usually about 40 or 45 minutes, we'll get you a certificate of participation for today's training. If you get cut off or you can't complete the training for some reason, head on over to our webpage, africafiremission.org. From there, if you go to the resources tab, there is a bunch of great free resources for firefighters. Click on that training materials tab, and there you'll be able to find a link to a Google Drive, which will have a recording of all of the trainings that we've done so far this year. And if you answer a few questions, let us know that you watched that whole video and you learned something from it. I can get you that certificate of participation for that as well. When we get finished with today's training, at the top of the hour, we transition into our tea time. Tea time is a time where you can ask additional questions about today's training or anything else that may be on your mind. It's a great place for you to network amongst other firefighters from throughout all of Africa. So if you've got the time and the bundles, I would encourage you to stick around for tea time at the top of the hour. With that, just one other quick reminder, if you've got other folks watching on your screen, just go ahead and email me. I'm about to drop my email address in the chat there. Let me know who else is watching on that screen with you, and we'll be sure that we get you guys a certificate of participation for them as well. So now, without further ado, I'm going to pass things back over to Howard to get started with today's lesson.
Okay, hang on just a second, folks. I'm gonna get my screen ready. Just a second here. I've got to get out of that screen. Here we go. Gotta put it down to here. One more deal. Okay. So today's presentation is about first responder physical fitness. Our classes now, our webinars, the theme of the webinars for this week and the next couple of weeks has to do with basically self-care, mental health, emotional things like that. And today's presentation is about physical fitness. Just so you know, I'm not a physical fitness. I'm not an elite athlete. Never was. I did play sports when I was younger. Was very active. Continue to be very active. I'm not a gym guru or anything like that. I'm just an ordinary, almost 67-year-old guy who likes to work out a lot. I think it's really important. Physical fitness is critical, and I just will say, and you'll probably hear me say this a few times. There is no downside to being physically fit and exercise. Absolutely no downside. So with that, let me move on. So I don't need to tell all of you as first responders that your job is dangerous and it's also physically demanding. You operate in really harsh and challenging environments. You use heavy, hard to handle tools while you're wearing many kilos of protective gear. And frankly, you do it at all hours of the night. Sometimes you haven't had a chance to have a meal. Sometimes you're doing it back to back. So firefighting is really, really dangerous and physically demanding. In some ways, you're like an elite athlete because of how much pressure there is on you in physical exercise. But you know it. I don't need to overstate it. So take a look at this slide and look carefully at not the best picture, but it was what I could find. And, I want you to notice that we use a lot of special equipment as first responders. A lot of equipment, whether you're an EMT, a paramedic, or a firefighter. So what I want you to do is in the chat, put what you think are the two most important tools that first responders use. You don't have to limit your answers to the pictures you see up there because you can't put in one picture all the possible tools. So go ahead and put in the chat what you think are your two most important tools. I'll give you 30 seconds to do that. I was going to have you do a poll, but I couldn't set it up. I needed to talk to Mike in advance, and I didn't have time to do that. Okay, so whatever answer you put in, and I'm not looking at the chat myself, here's the correct answer to this question. What are our two most important tools? If you didn't answer the question this way, then you didn't get it right. Our two most important tools are our body and our brain. We can't use any of the other tools in our arsenal if our bodies and our brains don't work. So for this particular training session, I'm going to focus on our body. By the way, I think this guy who I have a picture of, I think he's got a website because he looks a whole lot like a guy whose website I visit for training things. Incredibly fit person. Anyway, so we depend on our bodies for all aspects of being a first responder. Like I said before, in this way, we're like elite athletes. While we may not have to jump, sprint, or throw a ball, we are often required to crawl, drag, or haul awkwardly shaped heavy objects in extreme heat conditions that greatly tax our cardiovascular system. But there are also important differences. Elite athletes generally perform under optimal conditions. We don't. We respond to calls during the worst weather conditions, at the strangest hours, sometimes while we're in the middle of eating, sometimes after we've just eaten, and sometimes we haven't eaten for a long time. Elite athletes typically get a good night's sleep before their big events. We don't. In fact, we're often woken up many times in the middle of the night. Elite athletes are often eating well-balanced meals at regular times before their upcoming event. Again, first responders, we don't. We're often rushed. We're often gobbling the food on the run, or it's interrupted by calls. However, the biggest difference is that elite athletes do what they do because it's about winning or losing. For us, what we do, what's on the line for us, is often life or death. Ours, our fellow fighter, first responders, or civilians. So let me just say, I don't know how clear this chart is. It just kind of lists some of the benefits of exercise. But let me say, there are no downsides to exercise and being physically fit, period. That is gospel. That is one solid truth you can bank on. Physical fitness has been shown to prevent or treat many chronic health conditions brought on by unhealthy lifestyles. It even counteracts some of the aging process. Studies indicate that exercising regularly builds a stronger heart, and along with a healthy diet can even reduce the risk of cancer and boosts one's immune system. Being physically fit also helps us to reduce injuries that can keep us from doing the work that we need to be doing. Something that firefighters forget is that physical fitness involves more than just working out. It also involves taking care of your body by eating well, keeping yourself well hydrated, getting sufficient sleep, and avoiding or limiting ingesting harmful chemicals such as alcohol, recreational drugs, or tobacco. So at this point, I just want to pause for a second. And if in your situation, you're able to do this, I want you to stand up. Get up off your bottom. And I want you to swing. I'm trying to angle my camera. I hope you can see me. I want you to spread your arms out, just real wide, like you're getting ready to give someone a big hug. And then with each time that you do that, take a step in each direction, opposite direction. So swing my arms out to the left, swing my arms out to the right, swing my arm to the left, to the right. Now, I'm asking you to do this for two reasons. One of the reasons is because we all sit too much, especially when we're doing these webinars. So this is inviting you to move around, get some blood flowing. Get your blood flowing, you can think better and pay better attention. Also, it's a way of showing you that you can do exercise anywhere, anytime, and it's really sort of intentional, focused movement. So we all know EMS, Emergency Medical Services, right? Here's another way of thinking about EMS. E, exercise. You got to get exercise in your life, okay? You have to be mindful of what you eat. That's the M. And you got to get sleep and recovery. Sleep and recovery is really, really important, and too many of us downplay its importance. So again, today I'm only focusing on exercise. Someone else might talk about nutrition and ways to improve our sleep and things like that, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so let's talk about exercises for first responders. I'm gonna only touch on a number of specific exercises, but what I want to do is I want to talk to you about 4 categories of exercise. 4 categories are active movement exercises, which I'll explain a little bit more in detail what that's about. Deadlifts, dumbbell exercises for strength building, and what are known as HIIT, high intensity interval training. It's when you work really hard and then you rest, and work really hard and rest. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about that. So active movement exercises, they're pretty simple. They don't require any equipment. They involve using your full body to loosen things up, to build strength from resistance strength from your body weight, and develop coordination. Here's a really good active movement exercise. This is called the bear crawl. The bear crawl is what we call a compound exercise. It activates practically every muscle group, and its benefits include building core strength, building cardiovascular strength. It improves ability to function under highly physically intense stress, and it improves agility. This is a go-to #1 priority exercise that first responders, especially firefighters, should practice. I think this should work and show you what it looks like. Hopefully you're seeing this guy walk back and forth and seeing all the different muscle groups that are involved. You could do this, you can mix it up by just crawling, just, getting on your hands and knees, going back and forth. Any way you do it, it's a good active movement exercise. Here's another one. It's called the Spider-Man plank crunch. Now, I'm only going to show you specific exercises in these active movement ones because these are very specific. But the way it works is you're holding a plank. Here, I can get this one. You can watch this while it's going. Here, I'll let you watch it and then for a little bit, and then I'll explain a little bit more about it.
Hi, what's going on, my friend? Brian Zuki here. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to perform the plank Spider-Man crunch. This exercise targets your ab and oblique muscles. Get in the front plank position and keep your shoulders, hips, and the knees in a straight line. Lift one leg and bring your knee towards your elbow. Then lift the opposite leg and keep repeating this movement. Avoid lowering your head like this because that hurts your neck. Also, make sure you're lifting the knee sideways, not like this, but sideways like this. That is how you perform the plank Spider-Man crunch.
Okay, another active movement exercise. You build your core strength, which you need for everything that you do as a first responder. It improves hip mobility because you extend your entire leg from the hamstrings to the quads, the calves to the hips. So you're loosening up that whole lower end part of your body. Develops it improves your cardiovascular system, and it burns calories, and it just helps you to have a stronger cardiovascular system by increasing heart rate and blood flow. It's a great warm-up for any type of workout, or it's a great exercise by itself. It's the kind of thing you're at your fire station and it's quiet. You can just do that for 5 minutes. Boom, you've got some exercise in. And so you can do something like that instead of sitting around, watching a television or something. Okay, moving on. We'll talk about deadlifts. Everybody knows deadlifts, but there's so many different ways you can do deadlifts. But let's talk about the value of deadlifts. First of all, it develops a lot of body strength. All right, because your full body is activated when you're doing a deadlift. It builds your strength, your legs. It builds your lower back. How many of you guys have pulled back muscles, lifting something, deadlifts help to develop that, strengthen that lower back. You burn calories because every time you're moving those muscles, you're burning calories. It releases anabolic hormones, which are helpful to us in many ways. Again, builds core strength, enhances endurance, improves your posture. This one is really important because we don't think about it that much, but it helps to build your grip strength. Grip strength is really important. It's often the weak link in what we can lift or carry, but you're out there on the fire ground and you've got to haul something. Maybe you're hauling somebody out of a building, or you're hauling stuff to get it out of the way so you can get inside the building, or whatever it is, you need that grip strength. And the thing about deadlifts is that you can do them almost anywhere too. So here's, again, another little video about doing the deadlifts. Let me make the screen a little bit bigger here for you. There are some right ways and wrong ways to do these things, and notice how he keeps it back straight and he bends the knees. That's really important. Deadlifts involve bending the knees. He goes all the way down and he lifts back up. That's your basic deadlift. Now, we've got some other kinds of deadlifts. We've got what's called, well, the basic deadlift, or the conventional deadlift, which we just saw in the video. But then we also have something called the Romanian deadlift. The Romanian deadlift primarily targets the hamstrings and the glutes, so it's back here. And it helps to build strength in those areas while also improving core stability and posture. Again, it helps to reduce lower back injuries, making it, and it's a little bit safer in some respects than the deadlift. The other difference is the deadlift starts at the bottom and then you lift up. And again, I already talked about its benefits. The Romanian deadlift starts at the top and it lowers down, doesn't go down quite as far. You can do Romanian deadlifts one-legged, with, it's just holding one weight if you have a weight in one hand. By the way, these pictures are showing barbells or dumbbells, but you can do these weight-related exercises with anything. Take a water bottle, some of your tools on your fire apparatus, anything that you've got lying around, you could use you don't have to use these specific dumbbells or barbells. Here's another good deadlift exercise. It's particularly good for first responders because we're offering carrying things, in either hand. It's called the farmer's walk. You could see why it's called that, because the person's got weights in each hand, and so it's kind of like your balance holding, big bales of something. It's really good for improving grip strength, core stability, better posture, and overall muscle strength. And again, it provides a cardiovascular workout, making it effective for both strength training and general conditioning. But people don't often think about this as a form of deadlift, but it is, because you're carrying dead weight in your arms, just hanging down there. Squats. People don't think of squats as deadlifts, but they're a variation on the deadlift. So what you're doing is you can, with or without weights, but you're squatting down just like it shows in the picture. Again, as with all the rest of the deadlifts, it's just an overall good exercise. You could see from the picture what it works on, how it helps you. They're easy to do. Okay, I don't know if you guys want to do this or not, but I'm going to ask you anyhow. Everybody stand up. Let's do some squats together. All right? If you can. If you can't, you can. All right? You see me, I'm standing up. I still got my gym shorts on from working out this morning. I'm just going to do squat down and up. Down and up. You can make it more difficult for yourself. Hold your hands over your heads. That works on your core. All right? You can do it with one leg. There's all kinds of variations. You could do it with your body weight, or you could do it carrying extra weight. Okay. So here's variations on the squats. You see he's holding weights in each hand. You could do that with water bottles. You could do that with books. Whatever you have around that you could use by way of weight, That you can do it that way. You have hose lines that are just lying around. You can do it with those. Here's another variation. We tend not to, again, this is called a Bulgarian lunge. You can do it with or without weights. Like all the rest of the exercises, it improves strength, burns calories. As you develop, as you get stronger, it helps to prevent injuries. And this one helps with balance. And it's easy to do. You don't need a bench for this. You could do it with a chair, or steps. You could just, so you hold it on and you just bend down. You can change your body position. You could have your leg extended further out, closer in, leaning forward, holding weights. One leg, the other, then the opposite leg. Great exercise. It's variation. Alternatively, you can step on some, do the lunge by stepping with your front foot on a step in front of you, so that you're raising the legs. Just going to work the muscles in a different way. And again, a couple of more variations on the deadlift. This is called a sumo squat. And in this particular, your legs are real spread out wide. And in this particular case, example, in addition to doing the squat with the legs spread way out, this athlete is going back and forth, getting up on the toe on opposite feet, going back and forth. Again, variation. It's a deadlift variation. It's a variation on a squat. It's called the sumo squat. And the last one I'm going to show you is the goblet squat. And this is, you're holding a weight in front of you. By holding that weight in front of you, it forces your back in a different position. Again, excellent exercise. Now, let's talk about dumbbell exercises. I know you can't see this chart all that clearly, but that's okay. The point of me putting up this chart is to show you there's so many different kinds of dumbbell exercises. So dumbbell exercises are particularly good for strength training. They're preferable over barbells in that you have to work, because you're working unilaterally with each side having to, hold its own weight. It helps you identify a weaker side, and there's no hiding that fact. I know I have my left side is weaker than my right side because of an injury. And so if I was to use a barbell when I would do things, I'm lifting things, my right arm would overcompensate. So using the dumbbells, if you have access to them, it's great. That's not to say don't use barbells, but dumbbells are really good if you have access to them. They're just excellent for range of motion. They target specific muscles. They increase stabilization and muscle activation. And they're actually safer when you're training alone, because if you're having a problem, you just drop the one as opposed to dropping the bar on top of your head or on your neck or something. So lots and lots of different kinds of dumbbell exercises you can do. I'm not even going to begin. Basically, anything you can do in any exercise, anything you do with a dumbbell constitutes a dumbbell exercise, and they're all good for strength training. You need to work on the strength, on your core, and on your cardiovascular system. That brings me to the last of the four large groups. These are called HIIT, high intensity interval training. This is when you're going to work really hard for 20, 30, 40, or 50 seconds. I mean, you just all out. You have 110%, and then you stop and rest for 20, 30 seconds, however long, whatever time frame you set up for yourself. It could be as short as 20 seconds with a 10-second rest, or 50 seconds with a 20-second rest, or even I sometimes do HIIT exercises on a stationary bike, and I'll do 30 seconds just all out straight as hard as I can, and then 90 seconds of recovery, of relaxing. The recovery part is really important when you're doing HIIT stuff, but HIIT is really, really effective in terms of developing your cardiovascular system. In fact, it's one of the most effective ways to improve your cardiovascular conditioning when you have limited time. And you can apply HIIT to to the dumbbell exercises is too as well. You just use lighter weights. So say you're doing curls with your dumbbells. You curling your arms. So you maybe want to have big biceps, so you're using heavy weights. So lower your weights and turn it into a HIIT exercise by going very fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, for 30 seconds, and then stopping and resting. So there's a gazillion exercises you can do that are cardiovascular in nature. So jumping rope, burpees, mountain climbers, jumping jacks, run in place, cycling, jumping lunges. If you're not sure what these are, look them up online, and you'll see all kinds of examples of them. So high intensity, what you want to develop into your fitness program is a combination of strength developing through the sort of working the whole body. You don't want to work out just your arms, because people like, oh, that big bulky arms, but you don't want to just do that. You want to work the whole body. And so you start with those active exercises to get everything flowing, everything working, move into some strength training, some different kinds of ways of doing strength training, and then including high intensity workouts. You don't have to do them all at the same time. You can spread them out over the course of a week, and one day you do high intensity exercises, next day you do some of the weight related things. You can develop your own training program and stuff. The most important thing is you do it. However you work it out, however you make it happen, you do it. Now, you guys might be thinking, some of you might be thinking, all right, this is nice, but do I really need to go to a fire training webinar to hear someone talk about exercise? And the answer is yeah, because this is as important in many respects as the technical stuff that we've been teaching, that people have been teaching through these webinars over the various weeks. Yeah, those technical things are really important, but I got to tell you, the truth is, we don't do a lot of that technical stuff that we teach. We need to know it, we need to practice it, but at the end of the day, we're doing all kinds of other things, and we got to take care of our body so we can do those other things. One of the ways I hurt my shoulder was reaching up with an air pack on my back to take something off the ceiling. It was a smoke detector. It was I just strained it doing that. And it's a really common injury that first responders have, of things like shoulder injuries or their knees or their backs, because we're not taking care of ourselves like we should, or we just happen to move wrong. And so our bodies are critical. All those technical things that you're learning, or that you have used over the course of the years that you studied, that's all really important. But we know statistically that a lot of that stuff that we study and do, we're not actually going to have a chance to use, but we're always using our body. And that's why it's really important to take care of your body. By the way, the HIIT exercise that I was just talking about, that's particularly good for us as first responders, because that more than anything else replicates what it's like for us. So you get your call, you rush to the fire scene, and you go in, and you're dealing with your gear and the hot and all the energy and stuff, but then you have to stop. You're doing that and your heart's beating, but then you have to stop and listen to what's going on. You have to stop and listen. Is someone calling for help? Is your partner giving you instructions? So that's kind of how it is for us as first responders. The HIIT kind of replicates that for us. It's a really good exercise. So that brings me to this. If you're not already doing involved with an exercise program, quit making excuses for why you're not doing it. There's no shortage of excuses. In fact, I bet if everybody could put in the chat 5 different excuses for why they don't exercise, and we would come up with 5 times the number of people here, because there's so many excuses. All you have to do is find one reason for why you want to work out. That one reason might be because you want to feel better, you think it'll help you live longer, you want to be better able to help your partner, your colleagues when you're out there. It doesn't matter what the reason is, you just have to find the one reason that works for you. But I will say, one of the biggest obstacles to sticking with a fitness plan is boredom. So that means that you have to think about new routines. You have to search them out, try things differently, mix things up, do some cardiovascular stuff, do some strength building stuff. Don't do the same workout every day. You're going to get bored, and also your muscles will just get used to doing the same thing, and you won't really improve. Work out with a friend or someone else on your brigade crew member. Make a game out of it. To the extent that your schedules permit, make your fitness program a fixed and regular part of your daily routine. You know, years and years ago, somebody once said to me, there's two kinds of people. There's owls, people who like to stay up late at night, and there's doves, people who like to get up early in the morning. I'm a dove. I get up early in the morning. So there's two kinds of people with respect to workouts. There's the doves and the owls. I like to get up in the morning and I get my workout in early because then I know no matter how the rest of the day goes, the day started off good because I got my workout in. It can only go downhill, and often it doesn't because I got my workout in. And by the way, that workout that I got in makes my brain clearer, makes my everything feel better, and so it's a good thing. Now, there are the owls. The owls can't wait to get to their workout at the end of the day. That's how they get through the day. It's like, I can put up with all the stuff, all the bad stuff that's happening to me all day long because I know eventually at the end of the day, I'm going to get my workout in. Now, that doesn't work for me, but it might work for you. So work with how your natural body rhythms go for getting your workouts in. So with respect to physical fitness and exercise, I hope I have inspired some of you to find and commit to a personal fitness program that excites and motivates you. Honor your body. After all, it is the home of your holy soul. Now, get moving and get your heart pumping. So I was going to have you guys run through a series of exercises. That's why it says let's get up and move. But I want to shift gears real radically because I got about 5 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes, and I want to share some other things with you. So a lot of times as first responders, we have to deal with not just the trauma, not just the victims or the fire, but we have to work with the people around us. And sometimes that a part of our job is to comfort people or to distract children or to entertain them in some ways. So I want to teach you a couple things you can do along those lines. But I also want to say that one of the ways to get others to sort of pay attention to you is to do things for them that they don't expect. To do things that they'll remember because it's like, oh, wow, that I remember you did that, whatever. So what I'm going to do is teach you a couple of things, 3 things that you could do when you're encountering particularly young people to establish a relationship with them. Okay, now, I know this is going to seem silly, but bear with me. What I'm going to do is teach you 3 very simple magic tricks. It's an old hobby of mine. I've been doing it for many years. When I'm doing magic, my official name is Professor Nihak, which is my last name spelled backwards. So the first trick I'm going to show you, it's really simple, and it always gets laughs from people. Oh yeah, thanks for closing off my screen there. Okay, now you see my hands. So you show your hands to a child and you say, how many fingers do you have? And children are going to say, I have 10. But you say to them, oh, do you? I have 11. You go, no, you don't have 11 fingers. So you show your fingers and you go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, plus 5 equals 11. I guarantee the first time you do that to a kid, they're going to go, what? So I'll do it again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, plus 5 equals 11. They usually catch on after the second time. Now, really silly, but if you want to establish rapport with a young person, this is a simple way to do it. Okay, trick number two. After you've counted off that you have 11 fingers, then you say, well, actually, count my fingers. And you hold up your hands to them, and they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You go, well, wait a second. Now you have only 9 fingers. And they're laughing now. Go, wait a second. How could that be? How could you go from 11 to 9? And then you turn your hands around and you show them that you hit a finger behind there. Okay, really silly. But as a first responder, sometimes you need to pull a trick out of your back pocket that's going to help establish rapport, help calm a child down, help put a smile on someone's face. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 plus 5 equals 11. 9, but there's the 10. By the way, I want to show you my finger. You see the little black spot on there? On December 19th, December 18th, December 20th, a woman pulled out in front of me in her car and totaled my car. Sent her to the hospital, sent my airbags off, but the only thing that happened to me was my bruised finger, my black and blue finger. Okay, I got one more for you. This one's really simple too. And anytime, if you want to do some fire prevention talk, or just again trying to connect with people, it's easy to do. You say to them, "Hey, I'm a firefighter, first responder. I use ropes, all part of my work." And you say, "I'm a person, and I use this stuff too, right? You know what this is? It's a toilet paper roll. Everybody see it? Okay. So for this trick, you show them you're going to make a knot in the rope. And then you're going to take that knot and you're going to drop it into the toilet paper roll. And then if you want to have a magic word or you want to do anything, and then you just pull the rope and your knot has disappeared. And the kids are going, oh, wow, how did you do that? And you smile and you turn the toilet paper roll around and show them there's a hole in the back that you stick your thumb in when you put the knot in and wrap the knot around your finger and it just slides off. Now, really simple little things that go to creating the atmosphere to have, when you're connecting with other people, especially young people. And it's easy to do and it doesn't require any expensive equipment. All right. So on that note, I think I'm gonna wrap it up and we'll open up for questions. Mike, however you want to handle that. I'll take questions if people have any questions and comments, and we'll go from there.
Excellent, very good. Thank you, Howard. You've always got a great twist on those presentations. Really great information with some of those exercise movements. I liked that. What we'll do is the last link that I posted in the chat there for our Google Drive. There's a folder there called Additional Materials. I'll get Howard to send that presentation over to me, and we'll drop that presentation in that folder. So you'll be able to get a little bit closer view of some of those charts, of some of those exercise movements. I know for myself, I'm going to probably go back and look that over a little bit and try a couple of those different movements that I haven't done before. So that was really good. I enjoyed that, Howard. Thank you. And then, of course, your ending there, always great. Some great little tricks and a great way to start us off into our next sort of topic of that sort of mental and physical health. At this point in time, we're going to open the floor up for any questions about today's training. If you have a question or comment or something, please, you can drop it in the chat. You can use the raise hand feature. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Any questions about sort of that physical fitness topics that we were talking about there today? The floor is open.
I stunned them into silence.
Maybe they're exhausted from doing getting up and doing a couple of those movements. That was good to get up and get moving. I know for me, my job, I spend a lot of time behind the computer at the desk. So I'm always looking for ways to sort of to move about during the day. Anytime when you feel like you have those days where you don't have a lot going on, maybe there's not many runs, you don't have many calls, and you find yourself just sort of sitting around. When you get up and get moving a little bit, you always feel a little bit better. You get that, a little bit of mental boost too when you haven't moved around much and you get up and sometimes it helps you to concentrate more. So, lots of great benefits to being physically active, trying to find ways to maintain that physical activity. Floor is open if you've got any questions or comments for Howard. You can use the raise hand feature, drop your question in the chat, or unmute yourself and ask your question.
They're all feeling kind of sheepish because they know they don't exercise enough.
I I am in that club as well. I don't exercise as much as I should, and I can vouch for every time I work with Howard in person. He's sneaking away at some point in time to get some physical activity in. So he's walking the walk, not just talking the talk, and pretty fit for an old guy too.
I like to think so.
Yeah, no.
Look,
All right,
I just say
go ahead, Howard.
we have these services here in the United States for first responders. I get a notice every time a first responder, particularly a firefighter, dies, and they're considered line of death line of deaths, the line of duty deaths, and the vast majority.
Oh, sorry, Howard, I cut you off.
Yeah, hello.
Sorry, Howard, I muted you there for a second. Hey, Howard, click your unmute button there.
Sorry, I thought you unmuted me. I'm sorry. So I was just saying, we find out about these guys, these deaths, and many of them are medical related, which means they have a heart attack or a stroke, and doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't fit, but it probably there's a good relationship and or their age. Cyrus, you have a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Cyrus. Cyrus is into the fitness.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Cyrus.
Hey, Cyrus.
How are you guys? Long time.
Yes, sir. Doing great.
Me too. I'm doing good. I want to thank Mr. Cohen for the topic of today. Of course, it is a very important topic regarding firefighting and firefighters. So, me, I like physical fitness personally, and I have got so many ways on how to make my body physical fit. Regarding doing fire prevention, I participate where I can see there is athletic games,
Mm-hmm.
participating with kids, participating with adults. Uh, so that makes me build my muscles and make my body to be very strong. Comparing with the fighting fires, I can also fight fires for so many hours without getting tired and having that fatigue. So first responders, having that strong muscles due to physical fitness, it is very important, very, very important. And there is no way that you can say you cannot be fit because there is so many ways that you can make your timetable of doing physical fitness. even running like evening hours in your fire station. You look a small space to do maybe running left, right, back to the right, back to the left, doing some few sit-ups. Also that encourages your body to release some toxic. Remember in Africa, we don't have breathing apparatus. Again, when you respond to fires and come back to the fire station, do some physical fitness, you'll realize that there is that mucus you release from your chest. That also reduces some maybe particles from your breathing system, you know.
Yeah.
Even the sweating also, anything that maybe it has stuck on your skin. Once you do some physical exercise, as you sweat, also it allow that particles or that what we call soot that it is on your skin to get out of that skin. Yes, of course, I like the topic, and I encourage everybody to follow that, what Mr. Cohen taught us today.
So
Thank you so much.
I noticed your shirt, Cyrus. It's a marathon. You ran from running a marathon.
Come up again.
I said I noticed in your shirt it says that you ran from a marathon. You ran from running a marathon.
Yes.
Did you run? Did you do the marathon? Uh-oh.
I'm not getting it here. Can you repeat the?
Yes. Did you run that marathon that's on your shirt?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's good. My daughter ran the Boston Marathon when she was 6 months pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I participated that marathon, and I finished under 2 hours. Of course, it was 21 kilometers.
Wow. Right.
Even 3 days ago, 3 days ago, I participated also with the secondary schools games in West Pokot. Of course, I participated 10,000 meters, 5,000 meters, and 3,000 meters with full gears, including breathing apparatus, BA.
I did a run wearing my turnout gear once too. I took it. It was a special kind of run. But Cyrus, you mentioned I wanna highlight something you mentioned. You almost every firehouse has steps in them. Running up and down steps, great cardiovascular exercise. Carrying heavy things up and down the steps, any
Yep.
of your tools. So you don't have to go to the gym to work out. And every time you can do the steps, it's adding to your workout. So I wanted to highlight what you said about that, Cyrus, and congratulate you for that great time on your marathon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, hi Mike, how are you doing?
Very good, sir.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Cohen.
Hello, Patrick.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm really
Thank
doing
you.
well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you everyone. Yeah, the issue is not about questions because I was checking in the question box. I couldn't see so many questions, but the most thing you can say is the recommendations for the topic. Well presented one. Yeah, each and every firefighter has to be physically strong, has to be physically fit. How can you have this? How can you get this? It's by physical exercises, no matter what. We are encouraged, no matter what, whether morning running, weightlifting, even the foam things, carrying the foam things, running up and down. Yeah, even how the Silas was explaining, up and down, you climb the steps, up and down while carrying the hoses, left and right, whichever you can think of. The jumping jacks, there are a lot of stuff, push-ups, a lot of stuff we need to do as firefighters. Yeah, we must face a lot of challenges whenever we're fighting fires. So if we're not physically fit, we won't prosper, we won't achieve our goals, we won't make it, we want to work as expected, as professionals. So it's a must to everyone. You have to spare for some hours when you at the station. And if somebody say, guys, let's do some physical exercise, there, there should be discipline amongst ourselves. No somebody say, hey, look what this one is saying. He's talking about this. We are tired. No, something like that. No, it's our duty. It's our duty. We're supposed to be doing that. That's one way of making our things go better. So thank you for the well presented topic. Yeah, thank you, Cohen. Thank you,
Well,
everyone.
and thank you for your comments. You're spot on what you said.
Excellent. Very good. At this point in time, I'm going to wrap up the formal portion of our training, but please stick around. We're going to transition into our tea time, and we still got time to, if you've got questions or comments. So let me thank Howard for coming and training, and also, Howard, all that extra stuff that you're doing behind the scenes. That's making my job easier, and so I want to let you know how much I appreciate what you do for us. And thank you to all of you that are participating in today's training as well. We don't take you for granted the fact that you using your own personal time and your bundles and your data packages so that you can be here to better yourselves so you can better serve your community. Such an honorable thing to do. So thank you to everyone. We've got plenty of seats available here in the classroom. If you think that there's other folks that may benefit from this training, please feel free to share those registration links and let them join in on that training. With that, we'll wrap up the formal portion of our training, and I hope to see you all again next week.